Hi, I'm Tyson.
I'm Colin.
I'm Laurel.
I'm Tara.
I'm B.
Sarah.
Adam.
I'm Ryan.
And we're the Gamesmiths, and we're here to play Candy Shop today. Ryan's going to kick us off with the rules.
All right. So, in Candy Shop, each player is the owner of a candy shop during the biggest three candy selling days of the year. While the workers in the store are selling candy to the customers, you are busy exchanging candy and money with the other stores and trying to avoid the pesky candy-stealing baby. When the time comes, the quickest gets to take the candy from the baby. The shop with the most points after 3 days is the winner. This is a fast-paced party game for 3 to 8 players with dice rolling and card slapping. It brings a new level of action to game night. While keeping an eye on their inventory, players exchange money and candy to make the largest profit. The baby might take your candy, but there's always a chance to take it right back. So we set up by giving everybody 15 candy cubes and 10 poker chips monies. We're gonna play like the rule says. We're gonna play for 3 days, and the game a day ends when a player is out of candy, money, or both. Each player has had 3 turns. So if it goes around the table 3 times and no one runs out of stuff, we end it there. But if someone runs out of something, it just stops.
So
right
one
there.
player, just one player runs out. Okay.
Correct.
I'm sorry, when you said it took 3 days to play, I lost you.
Each round.
No, I know, I just I get it now. So what happened is...
It's like cricket.
If someone runs out,
tomorrow.
if someone runs out of any of these...
Right. If anybody runs out of any resource, basically.
Okay.
So if one
Then it's
player is
over.
totally out of candy, one player is totally out. Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess there's ways that we can try and force that to happen, or ways you can avoid it. So, so after the last player's turn, once we go around, so Laurel's going to start going first. She's got the D4 there, and when it gets back around to her, she'll tick that over. It starts on 1, she'll tick it over to 2, and then when it gets to 3, that's how we just track how many times it's gone around.
Okay.
When it's your turn, and as long as everybody's done, you're going to have to make trades. So each roll is going to require some kind of candy swapping. And once that's done and it's your turn, you just roll the dice, and you have a blue die, which is the action die, and the pink die, which is the distance die. Everybody has on here, on their reference card, what each of the symbols on the card are, and what it is, and what it does. So first, we have the baby. If the baby shows up, each player slaps the baby's candy card. The first player to slap takes all of the baby's candy, and the last player to slap gives the baby however much candy is on the current day card. So it's 1 candy. So everybody goes for a slap. Whoever slaps last has to give the baby 1 candy.
Because the baby thinks you
I'm
hit
so
it.
sorry
Right.
you're across from Nails McGee.
I actually have short nails
Oh, good,
today.
good.
I'm
Good.
sorry,
For
you're right next to airbags,
So-
McGee.
This time, you're allowed to roll multiple times if you want.
Wait.
In a turn. So here we'll explain this a little bit. So after you've rolled, so we'll basically you're allowed to roll multiple times in a turn, and so if you land on the candy side up, however many times you've rolled this turn, that's how much candy you have to give to the baby. So each time you roll, there's a higher and higher risk of having to give all your candy to the baby. You can, and we'll get into that a little bit later. You can buy, which means, and this is the distance, so you'll get the buy and like a 1. And so that allows me to trade 1 money for 3 candy with a shop that is exactly 1 person away from me. So I can, and they have to take the trade. So that's what they're talking about as a trade involved. So
And you
I'll
get to
give-
choose which
right.
way you go.
yeah, and so like I'll give Adam 1 money, and then I'll take 3 candy from him, and then I can decide whether or not to roll again. Sell is the exact opposite, or no, It's actually trade one of your candy for 3 money
Oh.
in the same direction. So I got to sell 3. So I would go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So either B or Laurel.
So it's not within the range.
Oh, right.
Or it's
You can't
the
pick
exact
anyone.
number.
No, it's the exact number. So 3 away from me is either Laurel or B. So then I would trade 1 money for 3 candy from theirs. Or no, I'm sorry, 1 candy for 3 money. So I'd pick 1 and I'd take that. The take is just that. Take blank, so that depends on how many times that's the day amount of candy. So this is, you're going to take a 1 candy. So on the first day, you're going to take 1, second day 2, third day 3.
Okay.
You're take 1 candy from a shop the distance away. So if I roll take and 2, either Colin or Sarah, I'm just going to take, a candy from.
Candies.
1 candy from.
So all our blanks are the day, but we personally, if we roll like 5 times and get baby, have to give 5.
Get
Doesn't
candy.
matter what day
Right,
it is.
get
Okay.
candy. Yep.
Well, just
So that's the one that
last
says
night is the day.
And you can
I
keep
think
rolling
all
and
the
that stops your roll.
Because this
one's
one is
per roll.
your-
And the babies,
how
the
many
babies.
rolls
So there's
are
two.
rolled.
There's 2 blanks. There's the baby blank, which is the day blank,
Yeah.
and then there's the candy blank, which is how many times you've rolled, and then there's the take blank, which is the day again.
Yeah.
So you can keep rolling until you roll a candy, and then
You
that
can
stops.
keep rolling basically. So here we
You
go.
have to give all your
We'll get to that. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So after you've rolled, you can pick the dice back up again for a maximum of 3 rolls on a turn. So you can't keep rolling forever. Sorry.
Oh.
When you're done with your roll, pass the dice to the next player, and the order will switch depending on which day we're doing. If you wait 3 full seconds after the player before you rolls, you can steal the dice from that player to stop them from making all 3 rolls. You may pick the dice up before resolving the action, but if you pick the dice up, you must roll again.
do that
So
again?
basically, I'm gonna roll, and I'm gonna see like take 2, but I have 3 seconds to decide whether or not, right, if I wait 3 seconds and I don't pick up the dice, Tyson can pick up the dice. And
So
if
you
he
have to
picks
pick
up
up
the
the
dice,
dice.
right, if he picks up the dice before I do, right,
It's gonna be a fast game.
right, so I'm gonna go take 2, and I can just pick, I can decide real quick, okay, take 2, and then I'm gonna pull these up, and then I'm gonna say, okay,
Resolve it.
1, 2, I'm gonna take 2 from Colin, so I'm just gonna take 1
Wait.
candy from Colin.
So you
But
just
since I
So you
picked it
just
up,
to
I have to
decide
roll
in the 3
again.
seconds, not
Right.
complete the
Oh.
action.
So I just have to decide in those 3 seconds whether or not I want to roll again.
Okay.
And so as my money gets lower, my candy gets lower, I might not want to roll again.
But what tells us that though? You picking up the dice says you want to roll again.
Yes,
or it
if
says
I
you
pick
wanna
up,
do
no,
the action?
yes, if I pick up the dice, I have to roll again.
So what tells everyone you want to do? the
You
action?
have to do.
You have to
the
do the
action
action.
that
The action's
roll.
required. So I'm going to roll this.
Oh,
I have to buy 2.
and you can roll again. If
Right, and it's always good. The action's always good for me.
Oh.
You know,
I
I'm
thought
always
they were
coming out the
mulligans,
bed.
or
No,
two
no, no.
mulligans.
No, so I'm definitely going to
Oh,
buy
so you
2.
can
That's
take
going
up
to
to
happen.
3 actions.
Right, and if I
Well,
sit
actions
here...
are always good for you.
All of them except getting
Oh yeah.
baby.
But the buy and sells are
Yeah.
good for you, yeah. But yeah, you have to do whatever you do, and then you have to decide in 3 seconds whether or not you want to pick up the dice. And if you do, you have to roll again. You don't get the choice not to roll again if you decide you don't like the outcome of whatever happens.
After you've resolved your turn, you get 3 seconds. to
No,
pick it back
after
up?
you roll, you have 3 seconds to pick up
Then
the
you
dice.
resolve
If you
it.
don't, the person to your left can steal.
Yeah, like baby
Okay.
showed up here, so you can like
Which means
pick up the dice,
he
but like,
steals
you
it,
still
but
gotta
you
slap the
still
baby.
act that turn out.
Correct.
That's
don't
gonna
get
be
to roll
the
But
hard
I don't get the option of
So he
rolling.
steals your ability to roll again.
Correct. He can stop me from making all 3 rolls. But if I don't pick this up,
So all you have to decide is if you want to roll again.
correct.
Okay.
Now I have one question going backwards a little bit in how the blanks work because I was reading and I'm unclear still. It says fill in blank with the number of candy on the current day card.
Right.
So that one has 5. So does that mean that every blank I get when I have to give candy, I have to give 5 candy to the baby bank for every roll I've done?
Oh,
Should those be
Or
written
is it
down?
just
it
one?
should say,
I think-
it should say, yeah. So
It
it should
probably
say
shouldn't be.
actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say we also should put candy here because if we put
No,
candy
it's day
there,
one
and we
candy.
put that, it's
Yeah.
gonna hurt.
Yeah,
us.
right. Okay. So that's the baby's candy reserve. So if you slap, you get to take all this candy for free if you're the first person to slap.
Here or something.
But you are right. So when you roll these, it's give 1 candy per roll that you've done, and then tomorrow it'll give 2 candy per roll that you've done, and the day after that it'll give 3 per roll. So on the last day, you could possibly give up 9 candy if you roll your third roll and get a candy on it.
Interesting.
Okay.
So you have to decide pretty quickly, like.
So
So that's the kind of stuff you have to decide, and it's going to get harder as it goes on because the first time it's just 1, so it's not really a lot of pressure. But as it gets going, so that's that. If you slap the baby's candy card when the baby symbol was not rolled, give the day's worth of candy to the baby.
So if you accidentally hit the
Yeah.
baby,
If you accidentally slap the
If
baby.
you
but
accidentally
you have
slap
no
the baby when the baby's
justifiable
not
reason
being
to
a jerk.
hit a baby,
Right.
like it's got your candy.
Right. That's
you
the
have
reason.
to-
Right.
okay.
It's stealing your inventory.
baby is
Got
a
your
thief.
candy. Right.
But
That baby is a thief.
And it had
A
it coming.
shoplifting baby.
it had it coming.
So if you wait a full 3 seconds, or I'm sorry. So
good reason
here's
to hit
some,
the baby.
yeah.
If you don't have that, then you get penalized.
So here's some rules though. When you roll the dice, you need to be aware of where you roll. Anytime one or both of the dice end on the baby's card, they have to be re-rolled. Both dice must be re-rolled. And dice need to be rolled so that the player whose turn it is next can reach them where they are. So you
So I
may
can't roll over
you
there.
may not choose to roll again if your previous roll didn't satisfy this. So if I roll and it goes way over there, so
I
Tyson
have to-
can't reach him, then it's just Tyson's turn next. I've given up my opportunity to roll again. I've basically thrown the dice
But if
away.
you roll onto the baby, it's a reroll.
It's an automatic.
And I'm
Yep.
the only one who has the opportunity to grab
steal,
the dice,
correct.
right? Okay.
And then hand positioning. Slapping hands should be off the table at the time of the roll.
I see your hand.
This
Your
is
money
off
and
the table.
candy should Your money and candy should always be
Maybe.
visible. And the dice should be
I would say
visible
nobody
after
should
each
have
roll.
their hands within the vicinity of the table. Probably.
Except for me.
So the day ends when a player is out of money,
That
candy,
might
or
be fun.
both. So a day ends when you're out of candy, money, or both.
Okay.
Each player has had 3 turns. At the end of the day, you're going to get 2 points per candy and 1 point per money that you have. Replace the current day card with the next one, and if it's day 3, the game is over. And then we redistribute the money and candy, so it's the same as it was at the beginning of the game. Everybody has 10 and 15 again, and then we start day 2. So
Okay.
everybody's candy and money is going to reset at the beginning of each day. So don't worry about, just kind of play for that round. Don't worry about
And we
saving
get
for the
3
future.
turns per day.
Right, 3 turns per day, 3 days for a game.
Alright.
And so that's about it. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points is the winner. So we're just going to,
Are we gonna write it down? Or?
yeah, we can use the whiteboard. We'll write it down on the whiteboard.
Okay.
So, yep, so we'll just keep track of that for you round. So any
Cool.
questions? Everybody think they got it?
Yeah.
Ready to start playing?
And slaps the babies.
Cool. All right, sounds good. We'll see you at the
Let's
game.
just slap this one baby many times.
Yes.